some issues too with your internet. So
Yeah. So this is crazy. I'm so sorry.
oh no, it's fine.
Hey, I've never been on the show before. I have.
Yeah, I've never. I mean, you have issues. I've done enough of these where you have some issues, but good grief.
It's all good. It's all good. We're all here. Dave's here via phone, and
Of course, I'm here stuck in the middle of it all.
Well, no worries. No worries. It's not going to stop us.
No, we'll just carry forward with it.
we got it. We're good to go. I think you just made everyone's night, though, by just saying hi. Everyone's like thrilled right now. So
That's easy. That wasn't hard. Okay, good.
yeah, you're good to go. You said hi to everyone. Everyone's happy. You're
right.
free for that.
Show's over.
All right, have a good night, guys. Ay, ay, ay. How the heck have you guys been?
Oh, we're doing good. How are you doing, Grant?
Great. It's been a chaotic month. Well, I guess that makes it a chaotic year so far. But things are good. Got a lot of cool stuff going on. So
Yeah, we hear you have an event coming up.
yes, yeah. Lindsay's the Center Stage events is their first real event as a company, but they've done many before, and really, really excited about it. Get to go back to the USS North Carolina with a very small group. That's one of the benefits of the events they do right now is they're small but high quality. Yeah.
Keeps it more intimate.
Yeah. And they're not shady. Like, they're just really good. I worked with some people before, and you show up and it's like, okay, like it feels like kind of like you're camping or something, which isn't bad. I like to camp, but it's like, come on, these people pay a lot of money and make a lot of sacrifice. Try and make it nice, and that's why I like Center Stage events, and I like Amy's Strange Escapes events. They're all fantastic.
Right. Yeah, I know we've had Lindsay on the show before. She's a great gal, so we love her.
She's an alien. We all know. So.
Isn't that the one that I filled in for?
No.
When we started talking about aliens?
Oh, maybe. Probably was talking about aliens with her.
Yeah, that conversation went way off course.
Yeah, no, she's fantastic, and she's super talented at what she does. Yeah, she's great.
So, Grant, I have to tell you, I am beyond thrilled to talk to you tonight.
Oh, likewise.
Oh, you really do not have any clue how thrilled she is to talk to you.
Well, I'm glad. Hope I don't let you down.
You are one of her biggest inspirations.
Yes.
What? Really?
Yes.
Yeah. My husband should know.
Wow. Well, that's nice
I have
to
a
hear.
lot to live up to. No.
I don't know what to do with that. Yeah, right. What do I do now?
No, as everyone in the world pretty much knows, I've had experiences my whole life, and I didn't think that I could talk about them because I would be called, crazy or what have you. And my husband and I were flipping channels one night, and we saw the show Ghost Hunters, and we started watching. And because of that show, I started on my own quest. And because of that, I ended up with Everything I'm Doing Now, which is a radio show. I have my own paranormal study based on what you guys did. I am writing my very first novel dealing with the haunted history here in Tucson. So if it wasn't for Ghost Hunters, I wouldn't have been doing any of this.
I'm sorry. It sounds like we made you busy.
But in a good way, and I love it.
Right. You were able to embrace the passion, or we helped light that spark. And that makes me so happy because I just get, I got into the paranormal to try to answer some of my own questions and to help people. I realized there are a lot of people that needed help and couldn't get it. And through the show and through things like my music and board games and stuff, I find that I'm able to help so many more people, and I don't like, I'm not even there for it, So like I spend an evening, I spend like 2 weeks filming a TV show, an episode, and to this day, what I did once is affecting people. It's a beautiful thing. It means a lot to me to hear that I can help other people very easily. You know what I mean?
Right.
That means a lot to me.
Yeah, and you did, and you were always, my favorite on the show because of the fact that you really did seem to have that compassion for people and wanting to help people, and the whole team did, but I don't know, it was just with you that I felt that connection, and
Wow.
I really just took from what you guys did and started making it what I do.
That's great, because I stopped watching season 2. It's just too weird for me to watch. And I catch an episode here and there, if the internet was in an uproar, and I'd set it straight. But it's nice to know that's how I came across, because that's how I truly feel. It's all about helping people. There's a big difference between paranormal investigators and ghost hunters.
Right.
One isn't better than the other; they're just different. Ghost hunters are out there trying to catch evidence, trying to experiment, and trying to have their own experience. Where paranormal investigation is more about, your goal has to be helping people. If your goal is to find a ghost, you're going to burn out and eventually start to fool yourself, And so if you make your goal helping people, you're equally satisfied no matter what the answer is, if you're looking for the truth, So if it's bad plumbing or if it's, Satan, you're fine, either way, it doesn't matter, as long as you can have some answers or at least a direction to help people with.
Right. Now, did you ever think that your show would get the attention that it did?
No. In fact, we turned it down 5 times. It was supposed to be we did an article for the New York Times, and the team disproved everything on that investigation that the reporter came with us on. And so he was super impressed with that and wrote what was supposed to be a Halloween fluff piece, was a pretty serious article. And it went across the wire to 140 something newspapers, and it went crazy. We got all these calls the next day of people wanting us to do shows and fly to California. And we're plumbers. I'm like, I can't fly to California. You come to me if you're that interested. But we had a gentleman in New York who actually lived in Connecticut, and he was going to meet us halfway, and he was going to buy us dinner. And we're like, okay, free dinner, let's go. And so we make you sound pretty. Yeah, right. Come on. What could go wrong? And we talked to him on the phone. He was a cool guy. So he wasn't that kind of car salesman Hollywood guy. He was a down to earth guy. And so we talked to him, and the concept was that they were going to do a drama. There were going to be actors that would portray Jay and I, and we would draw from our case files and our continuing case files to do the show. And so we're like, I'm fine with that. It keeps my privacy. You know what I mean? We can enhance the field. And so we went to New York one day and talked to a few networks and production companies, and they all loved the idea, but they all said the same thing. It has to be real, and no one's going to care. And we were just like, oh no, what have we done? And the gentleman who was helping us, Jody Hotchkiss, he said, look, guys, by that time we'd been through a lot. He said, I know how much you love this field, and the ideas out there. If you don't do it, someone else will. And how are they going to represent the field you love? And we're like, crap. Fine. We'll throw our privacy away and we'll do 10 episodes and be done.
That went on
200 plus episodes. And here we are now. And I'm glad. I mean, we had to fight at the beginning to maintain what we were doing, because everyone wanted us to be, crystals and and wanted us to jump at everything. And we were like, you don't understand. We're not looking for ghosts. We're trying to, I mean, we are, but we're trying to disprove everything we see. We're 80% of it we can disprove. We're trying to find real stuff. And they couldn't register with their brain. They just didn't understand that. And we just had talk after talk, and we would just put our foot down and wouldn't film and wouldn't do this. And it's not that they were jerks. They didn't understand how that was going to produce a better show, than trying to hoping that every episode you catch an entity. In fact, when we sat down to talk about the contract with Pilgrim Films, who makes Ghost Hunters, we flat out said, look, we absolutely cannot guarantee that we'll even catch a ghost at all during these 10 episodes at the time or ever. And if you're going to spend your millions or whatever to make this show expecting us to find a ghost, then we'll just leave right now because we can't. And we're not going to have that pressure on us. And he said, no. Craig Pelagian said, no, we think you're interesting enough. What you do is interesting enough that if you never find a ghost, it is still a good show. And we said, fine. And we signed the paper. And in the contract, we had it so that if anyone even suggested that we fake anything or try to produce anything, that we had the ability to fire them on the spot, no matter what their position. And one time during the show, there was a guy, really nice guy, but he was just breaking into the director position. And he had a different idea of how it was going to go. And so we were on a case and we weren't getting anything, which is normal. For us, it's 80% of pretty much what we encounter. And Steve and Dave were out in the woods, looking for activity in the woods, and he threw a rock to get a reaction out of them. And our camera guy saw it, and our sound guy saw it, and they came right to us and said, hey, this new guy just did this. And so we went right over to him, and we said, you on probation, you're not allowed outside the vehicle on location for a month until we figure out if we're going to fire you or not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so we did that. He was allowed to come in and do the tours and all that stuff, but he had to have someone with him at all times, and we stuck him. And he's the director. He's the main guy out on the road. And we said, no, I'm sorry. And we eventually let him go. So just didn't want. We were like, why are we wasting our time here? Like, let's just get rid of him and get someone else. But it was tough because he was a very good guy, and he was truly sorry, and he figured it out. But oh well.
Yeah. And see, that's what I loved about, the show Ghost Hunters, was that you guys were so honest about everything. And I loved that you went to try to find reasons behind everything and wasn't calling everything a ghost. And that's what we do. That's what my team does. And that's what we base things on. And my husband, Will, here, he's the perfect debunker on things. He loves to find the noises on everything because he's like the mechanic and the repairman and things like that. So he knows what causes certain noises.
Yeah, and that's awesome to hear because that's exactly we want people to investigate their own way, but there are some baseline things or mentalities that should be across the board, and that's one of them. I mean, you want to have something real to work with, and when we would hire people, I was over training for most of the time with Tabs, and when we wouldn't really hire, but when we would have people join the group, we weren't looking. People would come and they'd have their goth makeup on, or they'd be in trench coat. Nothing wrong with the trench coat, but you know what I mean.
Right.
And with a briefcase full of skulls and seeing things like that. And it's like, come on. I didn't want people who had read every book, or people who, were doing trancy stuff. Like, I didn't want people who were passionate about ghosts. I wanted HVAC guys, I wanted plumbers. I wanted police officers, detectives, doctors, We wanted people like that with real world knowledge. Because if you already think you know everything about ghosts, I have to try to unlearn. You have to unlearn that because we did things so differently. we wanted people with real world knowledge so we could fill our quiver with